Dante is now in the company of his final guide. Beatrice has sort of returned to her place inside the Empyrean, and Bernard of Clairvaux, Dante's final guide, is now showing him the inner sanctum of paradise, which turns out to be a mystical rose. What a beautiful image Dante has created here, a mystical rose with a kind of abundance of petals. And inside the petals are the souls of the saved. And this is their true kind of residing place, where they are inwardly all looking at God himself. And it is this contemplation of the divine that is the true experience of heaven. We sometimes have a difficulty thinking of what heaven really is. But heaven is nothing more than being able to see the face of God and being one with God, as Dante has it inside of this mystical rose. Now, Dante begins with a phrase that begins this canto. We're at canto 32. Remember, there are 33 cantos, so just one canto from completing the poem. And the phrase that the souls are, in a sense, reciting is called Miserere me. Have mercy on me. By the way, this is the opening phrase of Psalm 50, and it is a phrase that recurs in all three parts of the Divine Comedy. In fact, at the very beginning of the Divine Comedy, one of the first things that Dante says is, have mercy on me. Miserere me. Have mercy on me. And then early in Purgatorio, the souls that are waiting to undergo their purgatorial or purging journey also sing the same psalm, Miserere me. So here you see the the interconnectedness of the Divine Comedy, of the three different books of the Divine Comedy, and this phrase recurring here. And each time it is used, it has a slightly different coloration or context. And here one sees that sin, although cleansed by God, isn't in a sense forgotten even in heaven, because have mercy on me implies that divine grace is still operating in heaven, and this demand or cry out for God's forgiveness and mercy is perhaps a little surprising even up here in paradise. And now, the mystical rose, as Dante describes it, is complex, and it has a lot of complementarities. You have the sort of the males over here and the females over there, so there's a kind of gender complementarity. By the way, no one here is non-binary. We don't have any of that here. You got males, you got females. You also have, in a sense, the people who came before Christ and the people who came after Christ. That's another division. Now, these people aren't separated really from one another. What Dante seems to say is that in heaven you have unity and complementarity that kind of go together. So distinctions aren't all obliterated in heaven. They exist, but they exist as part of a kind of deeper and greater unity. So let's read from the text. On this side, where the flower is full bloomed to its last petal, sit the souls of those who place their faith upon Christ yet to come. So these are people, in a sense, from the Old Testament, and they were looking forward to, anticipating God sending a Messiah, as he did with Christ. And so Dante then proceeds to a discussion of how God endows each of the souls with grace, but not necessarily the same amount of grace. This is very interesting. Dante goes, the king, through whom this kingdom is at rest, in so much love and so much delight, that no will dares to wish for any more. So all the souls are completely filled and completely satisfied. And yet, says Dante, creating all minds in his own mind's bliss, endows each with as much grace as he wishes. So God is sort of in his abundance, sort of dispensing grace. not necessarily the same amount to everybody, but everybody gets kind of as much as they can take. In other words, everybody gets their fill, so there's absolutely no, you might say, well, aren't there people in heaven who sort of desire more? No, every cup is sort of filled to the brim, but maybe all the cups aren't of the same size. Thus, through no merit of their own good works are they ranked differently. The difference is only in God's gift of original grace. Very important clarification by Dante here. You might think, wait a minute, some people were like, they lived a nobler life and they did more good deeds, and therefore they are in a higher place in heaven. Dante goes, no, it's not that at all. It's not that divine assignment here is due to human merit. And in fact, we come here to the core Christian doctrine that we are saved by grace alone. In other words, we're saved by God's, in a sense, free gift of grace that is disconnected from human achievement or human merit. And here we see Dante, let's remember, Dante, the medieval Catholic, fully on board with what would seem to be a kind of later Reformation doctrine, but it's not a Reformation doctrine uniquely, it's a doctrine deeply anchored in Christianity itself.